Hello.
Hello.
New kid in town. Or? Do you want to do that?
Yep, I'll just do the picture first.
Where am I looking anyway?
Just on the back, please. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Right.
Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference. To
face ain't seen for about 8 or 9 months.
And we'll start off with Vinny at Sky, please.
Sean, good to see you. I take it you got a good welcome from the likes of Michael Keane, James Tarkowski and Dwight McNeil.
Why only them?
Well, I'm just thinking that you obviously know them a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a really good welcome from all, in fact. Staff, players alike. I know a bit about the feel around the club from being here, visiting here, but it's true, the staff, everyone's been very open to us being here. So not just them players, and I think there's been a good reaction so far to what we've tried to do in this early part of our careers here.
So how have the first few days gone? What have you been working on with the players? What have you learned new about your squad?
Well, I think they're open-minded. I think they've been very honest about the challenge, about what it is, what it has been, what it is now, and where we can go. We did a bit of a feedback session on that, so I was happy with their honesty. I think there's a desire to put things right. I think that's relevant and become quite obvious, actually. Excuse me. They know there's an adaptation period for what we want to do. A load of stories made about me doing yo-yo tests, and it's all nonsense. It's just a scientific test, that's all. One of many that we do. I know the markers, I know the physical markers in the Premier League. It's one of a few different versions of tests that I've used down the years. I've got all the data for it. So that was just a marker in the sand, which I explained to the players. Someone was implying it was a question about the feeling of other managers that have been in. Nothing at all. I've total respect for all managers, including Frank and his staff. I'm sure they work very hard here. No question that whatsoever. I can only share a view of how I want to do things and not question others.
So what is your assessment of the challenge that you face here?
Well, I don't think that one's rocket science. I think everyone knows the challenge, and that's to get out of the situation. It is what it is. The team are where they are. The league doesn't lie. I'm not obsessed with league tables. I like the one at the end of the season, as long as you're the right part of it. But the current league table doesn't lie. We're there for a reason. It's about how we all correct it. And I think the biggest thing for me is the alignment. Going from owner through the chairman, through Kev, through myself, and into the players and into the fans. I think we've got to make sure that's there. But it starts with, obviously, me and the work with the players and my staff to make sure we're aligned, because we're the team behind the team. And then we've got to make the team go out there and perform, quite obviously. And at the end of the day, whichever way you cut and dry, do all the best work in the world or whatever it's deemed, you got to win. You've got to win games. Got to get points on the board.
Obviously, I don't want to overshadow your first news conference here as the Everton
But you're going to.
I'm going to slightly, because obviously you have got the people who've been responsible for transfers over this month here with us, and you're the face or the person who's got to front up to that. So what can you tell us about why the club wasn't able to bring in new signings in those last few days of the transfer window while you were here, and what explanation have you been given for not bringing in new faces previously in the month?
Well, firstly, one thing I can assure you, because I've been here at once I was appointed, I managed to get here Saturday, so I can only tell you what I know from being here. And Saturday, all I've seen is hard work. That's all I've seen so far, particularly in the recruitment area, because obviously we know the window was what it was, and the owner, the chairman, Kev, myself, I've been leaving here late at night, Kev on the phone constantly, the owner, the chairman on the phone constantly. I can assure you I was there. I physically was there, seeing it all. So there's absolutely been hard work. A couple of things about the playing options is, first of all, you've got to align them. I've said many, many years, my Premier League experience is all parties have to say yes. We all know that. You've got to get to that situation. You need the finance in place to make them situations happen. We all know that. But likewise, the thing that often gets overviewed is that they've got to be better than what we've got here. I think we've got some very, very good players here, some very talented players. Now, they may have lost their way. We can all have debates on why things are not where they want to be or what they should be or whatever people deem. But there's some very talented players here, and I've never been one for signing players for the sake of signing them. There's a rule to every rule, and that would be, if you've got a young player you think can develop into these style of players and this level of quality, of course, that's different. But when you're talking about players just coming in and going straight into, let's say, the team, they better be good players, because I believe there's good players here. Now, of course, our job is to help them, guide them hopefully to better days and polish them down, and polish them up a bit rather, and maybe give them a different way of looking at the game, and give them the freedom to go and play amongst the framework to be strong as a unit. But you get my point. Is you're not just going to sign players for the sake. Well, I'm not. I'm just going to not sign players for the sake of signing them, and then you never see them again. They've got to affect what we're doing, and they've got to be good enough to affect what we're doing. As I don't see the point in it. And we work very, very hard. I can assure you, because I was here, I was watching it, I was involved in it. I'm ringing agents. We're doing all of the diligence, all the crunching of analytics numbers, everything we could do to define the players that can help.
That said, though, obviously Anthony Gordon has left the club, and it was accepted that the club was looking to bring in a couple of further attacking options before he left. So how much of an issue is it, the fact that you've not even been able to get in a replacement for Anthony?
Well, the timing of that was before me, obviously. The sale, I mean. So that was already in progress. Trying to react to the situation then is a different ballgame, because you don't know what money's coming in until that deal was done, of course. It's coming in, not literally, by the way. It doesn't come in all in one go. Then it's go, here you go. And then looking at the players that would fit into that market of the money available against the quality of player. Of course, there's lists of players that everyone will have. Most players know the runners and riders. Most teams and most development units, recruitment units, know the runners and riders in football. Like I say, the odd bit of gold, that you find, young player or a developing player you might find, but generally, we all know the players that we think are going to be the players. But you've got to get ones that you're more or less hedging your bets, they can affect the group. And as I said, I think there's some very good players here. They're maybe not performing at the level they can do at this moment in time, but that's my job, the staff's job and their job to take that on and remind ourselves what a good group of players there are.
It seemed when you took over as well, Sean, that promises were made about recruitment. It seems the way you're talking that you don't feel let down by that.
No, there doesn't seem that there was any promises. Promises. What promises can you make in recruitment? It takes the human beings. It takes everyone to align. Simple as that. You make many promises about this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day, people have got to align with what the deal is. And literally sign a deal or a contract that puts them as part of your football club. I don't speak about other people's players. You know that. You've known me a long time. I don't really do that. So there's fair to say there was loads of phone calls made, offers put in. They didn't get to the place we wanted them to be for whatever reason. That's the way it sometimes goes.
Can you talk about free agents, though? And any chance of something that could happen in the free transfer
Well,
market?
yeah, again, I mean, often being totally disrespectful to football and the system that it is. Sometimes, not always, but some of them players are there for a reason, because maybe there's a reason why they're not at clubs. You do get the odd bit of gold, like I said. We're looking at the market. Of course, we're aware of the players out there, but yet again, they've got to be able to affect what we do. So that's the biggest one for me. Now, it's not always about money and have or have not. You've got to bring players in to affect what you do. And I've been a big believer in that for many years, and you definitely know that, because you've spoken to me about it many times.
I will have to throw one name at you, though. Isco, any chance?
As I said, there's a list of players we'll be looking through. Do they fit what we need? Do they fit what we can do? Do they fit what we need to achieve going forward? And can they do it with pretty quickly? Because you sign players for the future, that's different. But let's face it, we need things that are going to activate now. So the first port of call is in-house. What have we got in-house? Can we make sure they're ready for the task in front of us?
How fit and ready then is someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin to really be the focal point of your attack, and I suppose to recapture the kind of form that we saw that took him into the England squad? Yeah,
I mean, he's had his ups and downs with fitness. I'm aware of that. Getting him truly fit and his body strong enough is going to be the key. I think I've spoke to him. I think he's a lot closer than he felt he was. Obviously, he's an important player, but there's lots of important players here. It's not just him. But with his scoring record here and his level of performance, it's not so long ago before the injuries kind of hit him, and he's a very good player without a doubt.
Anyone else nearing a comeback? Thinking James Garner, Ben Godfrey, Michael Keane?
Yeah, Ben Godfrey's closer. Michael Keane's getting fitter and has trained. Garnes is going to be a little bit yet.
So how do you feel about your first game as Everton manager against Arsenal?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, I'm aware, of the recent noise around the club and all that sort of stuff, but I think it's important. I don't know everything about the Evertonians. I'm learning about the reasons why there's some noise around the club and things like that. I mean, in a depth reasons rather than just what I've read. But the one thing I know about the Evertonians, they stand by their club and they protect it and they'll look after it, and that's what I need now. I need that as a manager. My staff, my players need that. need that full support, that's for sure. So looking into the first game, I think that's going to be really important just as a start point. You know, before the ball even rolls, we've been working very hard on the training pitch, trying to cram a lot in with the players about the culture and environment, trying to realign what we think. I remind you what we think is important, not questioning anyone before me remotely, what we as a group think. Some of the consistent beliefs in what we think between us, and then taking that on the pitch. So we provide that, and we want the fans to give us a chance to go and provide it for them and to support us, you know, amongst all the noise. You know, that, you know, it's the old favourite. It's easy to take the wheel of a ship in calm water. It's not so much when it's choppy waters. Well, we want the fans to play their part in that. It is choppy waters. There's no denying it. The club's not where it wants to be. But we want the fans to join in with us. We want the fans to reconnect with us. And it's easy to say, I've got to earn my spurs. Of course, I totally understand that. You know, I'm a bit of a Marmite manager anyway. Not everyone wants you. But at the end of the day, you have to earn your spurs. And I'm willing to put the hard yards in to earn that, to earn their respect. And I want the players to remind themselves. Some of them have earned that respect, but I want them to remind themselves, you have to do that. So we've got to give, of course. We want them to support us from the off, and that would be fantastic if they can, you know, get their hearts back on the sleeve. And even the ones that have got angles or problems or questions about the club, if they can just park it for a little while, get behind us, and hopefully reconnect with us.
Wins, I suppose, would be another way of pulling things together.
Yeah, of course. I mean, wins are them marvellous things in football. They seem to solve everything. You know, everything feels a whole lot better when you're winning. But yeah, again, you have to earn that. You know, no one gives you it. You might get lucky one now and again, but let's face it, you don't really want to build on luck. You want to build on hard work, good performances, pride, passion, the will and desire of a team to win, and then, of course, layer on technical, tactical understanding, all the rest of it. But it really, for me, it's the heartbeat of a team and the heartbeat of a club, and we've got to remind ourselves there's a strong heart for Evertonians. I know that. Been here many times. We've got to provide that strong heart as a team and a group of people, all noses pointing in the right direction.
Good luck, Sean.
Thanks, Neil. We'll go to Richard.
Cheers, mate.